In the heart of Brazil, nestled amidst rolling hills where the sun kissed the earth with a golden glow, a horse rescue facility named Haven's Hope stood as a sanctuary for the discarded and marginalized creatures of the equestrian world. Elisa Santos had transformed her grandmother's run-down farm into a haven where horses, once deemed worthless, could find love and a new lease on life. Just 28 years old, Elisa was fiercely devoted to her mission. However, the constant struggle to keep the facility afloat weighed heavily on her shoulders. 5 years earlier, the stormy evening that had brought 3 young horses, Luna, Tornado, and Estrella, into her life had changed everything. It was a moment she would never forget. Dom Alo Figueiro, one of Brazil's most prestigious horse breeders, stood before the trembling colts in his stables, dismissing them as unworthy. Elisa had heard the rumors about Alo, a man obsessed with perfection, who believed that only horses meeting the very highest standards of conformation deserved a place. Worthless, Alo had spat, crossing his arms over his expensive riding jacket while his polished boots glinted in the low light of the stables. The chestnut's legs are too weak. The bay has that irregular gait, and the gray. He shook his head in disdain. Look at its size. No champion blood here. Cardo, the stable manager who had been loyal to Alo for over 3 decades, felt his heart sink. It was a bitter truth that many knew. Alo's heartless approach often left a trail of broken promises and abandoned horses. Senor Figueiro, he had pleaded, trying to defend the colts, they're just babies. With proper care. Not a charity, Ricardo. Alo interrupted sharply, dismissing his stable manager with a wave of his hand, his expensive boots clicking against the cobblestones as he stormed away. Remove them by sunset. I don't care where they go. Ricardo's heart ached for the young horses, but he felt helpless against Alo's decree. As the 3 colts were shuttled away, Ricardo kept copies of their papers hidden, aware of the bloodlines that flowed through their veins, a chance inheritance that many would overlook. Meanwhile, Elisa was working tirelessly at her own modest facility, Haven's Hope. She poured every ounce of her time and money into caring for the horses she had rescued from neglect and abuse. She was well aware of Alo Figueiro's reputation and the fate that awaited those deemed unworthy. When she received Ricardo's message, 3 colts arriving tonight, good breeding but deemed unworthy, can you take them? Her heart raced with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Her facility already housed 8 other rescue horses, each with scars from their past, but Elisa felt a conviction growing within her. We'll make room, she texted back. It was a promise she was determined to keep. That evening, the air crackled with tension as storm clouds gathered over the horizon, bringing a pitter-patter of rainfall that added to the ambience of uncertainty. When Ricardo's truck finally pulled up, Elisa could see the 3 frightened colts emerge timidly, huddling together, their big eyes wide and anxious. This is Luna, Ricardo said, patting the chestnut horse who seemed to emanate a gentle, timid grace even amidst the fear. This bay is Tornado, and the little gray is Estrella. Elisa knelt to eye level with Luna. Hello, little ones, she whispered, her gentle voice reaching out to them like a soft caress. Welcome to your new home. That night, as the rain drummed against the stable roof, Elisa sat on a hay bale in the corner, watching as her new charges settled into their stalls. Luna, drawn by Elisa's quiet reassurance, cautiously approached her and nuzzled her hand. They said you were worthless, Elisa murmured, stroking Luna's velvet nose. But I see something different. I see a champion. Although she didn't yet realize it, that moment marked the dawn of a transformation, one not just for the horses but for Elisa and everyone around her. As days turned to weeks, a rhythm of hard work settled in. Elisa soaked in every bit of knowledge she could gather about training, feeding, and caring for young horses. With every meal, every gentle touch, she nurtured the seeds of confidence growing inside Luna, Tornado, and Estrella. Let's see what you can do, Luna, Elisa said one sunny morning, leading the chestnut filly into the round pen. The morning light danced upon her coat as the filly moved. Elisa soon realized that Alo's initial assessment had missed something beautiful. Yes, Luna's legs may have appeared slim, but they had the perfect proportions for a natural jumper. With every leap she executed over the modest obstacles Elisa had set, Luna didn't just jump, she danced. Delighted, Elisa whispered, "Oh, my beautiful girl." Soon enough, Tornado came to show he had his own surprises. His supposedly irregular gait translated into a smooth, lateral movement that left Elisa in awe. With a little training, he had a natural talent for dressage that most horses would take years to master. Months passed, and amidst all the diligent training, Elisa's financial resources dwindled to a frightening degree. Though she invested almost every spare penny she had into proper feed and equipment, the worry loomed larger than ever. "Help me, Papa," she pleaded often to her father, Miguel Santos, as she prepared to navigate yet another budget that seemed to shrink faster than her ambitions could grow. "These horses are different. They're special. You can't save everyone, Elisa," Miguel said gently, his eyes reflecting the weariness of practical survival. "No," she replied, determination etched across her features. "But I can save these three. Watch." And with that, she would demonstrate Luna's exceptional jumping form, Tornado's elegance in dressage, and Estrella's courageous spirit as she faced new obstacles without backing down. Miguel's amazement grew with each passing day, and even he, the seasoned horseman, began to see the exceptional talent rising from his daughter's heart. Then came a moment of serendipity that changed everything. Dr. Isabella Montenegro, a retired Olympic equestrian trainer, visited Haven's Hope to check on a mare she'd been following closely. When she saw Luna, Tornado, and Estrella performing their exercises, her eyes widened in disbelief. "Who owns these three?" she asked, her tone a mix of astonishment and authority. "They're mine," Elisa stated proudly. "They were discarded by Dom Allo Figaro, but, Isabella stepped closer, her gaze intense as she analyzed Luna's ethereal elegance. "The fool can spot Figaro bloodlines anywhere. But these," she gestured at the horses who were now shining with health and vitality, "are diamonds in the rough." Before departing that day, Isabella made an unprecedented offer. "I will train you and your horses for free. In return, when they are ready, and I assure you they will be, you'll enter them in the Grand Prix." It's time someone showed Allo Figaro that true horsemanship isn't about perfect conformation. It's about heart. With Isabella's guidance, Haven's Hope transformed. The retired champion brought not only her expertise but also connections to the equestrian world. Slowly, local businesses began to take notice of Elisa's work. They rallied around her mission, donating feed, supplies, and equipment. Each horse found their specialty through training. Luna's jumping ability blossomed into something breathtaking. She could clear heights that made even seasoned trainers gasp. Tornado, working on precision, became a crowd favorite with his dressage performances that turned heads. And Estrella, once deemed too small, developed incredible endurance and agility that shocked everyone who had doubted her. Their hard work paid off as whispers of the miracle horses spread throughout the equestrian community. Local competitions became their proving ground, and with each success, Elisa's spirits soared higher, fueled by the love she had stitched into every training session. But even as success bloomed, it didn't come without its complications. Dom Allo Figaro's attention was drawn remarkably back toward Haven's Hope. His lawyers began inundating Elisa with demands for proof of ownership, claiming that because Allo bred the horses, he had rights over their successes. Thankfully, Ricardo's meticulous records proved invaluable, documenting everything, including Allo's original order to dispose of the horses. "Let them come after us," Isabella said fiercely. "The publicity would destroy him." And as if that were not enough, Elisa noticed luxury black cars parked regularly outside Haven's Hope, carefully watching. Allo was paying close attention, waiting and very likely plotting his revenge. Late one night, the strain of the mounting veterinary bills weighed heavily on Elisa's mind, and she found herself crying in the stable, feeling the crushing reality of her debts and the burden of responsibility bearing down on her. Suddenly, she felt a gentle nudge. It was Luna, with Tornado whickering softly in sympathy from his stall. Estrella, always demanding attention, pawed at the ground. "I know," Elisa said, wiping her eyes and smiling through the tears. "We are family. We'll figure it out." And just as it seemed the storm clouds were too heavy to bear, a miracle unfolded. The article detailing the story of Haven's Hope and its miraculous rescues caught fire across the internet. Donations began pouring in from far and wide, touching hearts that empathized with Elisa's mission. Local businesses started offering sponsorships, from food supplies to transportation for competitions. As they approached the Brazilian national championships, Elisa felt the thrill of what lay ahead, tempered by the understanding that competition now brought her to the epicenter of a showdown with Alô Figaro. "This is what we've been working toward," Isabella proclaimed, excitement glinting in her eyes as she presented the official letter of invitation. "I know he'll be watching," Elisa muttered, determination firm in her words. It's time he saw what he threw away. The months leading up to nationals were intense. Every training session drew out the very best in each horse. Their performances blossomed like flowers in spring, and Elisa's confidence grew with every jump and pirouette. Local children frequented Haven's Hope, enthralled by the notion of rescue horses becoming champions. Elisa started a youth program teaching kids about equine care and riding. With contagious enthusiasm, she'd say, "See how Estrella is small but mighty," or "Luna teaches us that what looks like a flaw can turn into strength." As the day of the championships arrived, a pulse of anxiety thrummed through Elisa. The São Paulo Equestrian Center loomed ahead, its modern design contrasting sharply with Haven's humble roots. The atmosphere buzzed with the thrill of competition as luxury horse trailers filled the parking area. Amidst the glistening automobiles, Haven's modest trailer stood in stark contrast. With her heart racing, Elisa unloaded the horses and felt eyes heavy upon her. The onlookers whispered, and the air filled with disbelief as Alô's familiar Figaro Stables logo adorned the adjacent premium stalls. "Well, if it isn't the miracle worker," a smooth voice interrupted. Elisa turned, steeling herself against Marina Figaro, Dom Alô Figaro's daughter. "Father was quite interested to learn about your little project." As Marina's practiced smile faltered in the presence of the three champions, Luna stepped off the trailer, her chestnut coat gleaming with health and confidence. "It's impossible," Marina gasped, recognizing the unique facial markings that spoke of lineage. Preliminary rounds commenced with Tornado taking center stage in the dressage competition. He danced across the arena, each step fluid and precise, capturing the highest scores of the event. The audience erupted into applause, and Elisa had to fight back tears of pride as the bay stallion, once labeled worthless, became the embodiment of grace and talent. Luna followed in the jumping qualification round, with an electric energy that surrounded her. She cleared every jump effortlessly, growing bolder with each leap. Crowds soon found themselves captivated, leaning forward in their seats, cheering for the chestnut who embodied poise and power. In the showcase of versatility, Estrella showcased her agility and determination, proving that size was merely a number in the grand scheme of chasing dreams. Crowd roared with excitement as the tiny gray mare effortlessly maneuvered with the finesse that made her unique. As the event continued, all three horses qualified for the finals, and Elisa felt a swell of hope and excitement crashing against her heart like ocean waves. This was to be their moment. As night fell and results were posted, the overwhelming news reached Elisa's ears. The three horses had qualified for the finals. But beneath this elation lurked the reality of Alô's presence. That night, destiny would intervene in a way Elisa never expected. As she groomed her horses, preparing for the final day, Alô cornered Elisa in the stable aisle. His air of superiority clashed with the raw emotions swelling in her chest. "Name your price," he demanded, his voice steely and assertive. "Those horses belong in my program. Their success reflects my breeding." Elisa met his gaze steadily. "Their success reflects their hearts, Senor Figaro. Something you've failed to see." "I'll make you a rich woman," Alô replied, a hint of desperation creeping into his voice. "You're a nobody running a charity operation." In that moment, Luna stepped closer, leaning her neck over the stall door and resting her head on Elisa's shoulder. The gesture spoke volumes of trust and devotion, deepening Elisa's resolve. "These horses deserve love," Elisa insisted, trembling but unwavering. "Not just the prowess you seek for your reputation." Alô's expression darkened as he considered words unsaid. We'll see how far love takes you. Dawn broke over the showgrounds, illuminating the tension that permeated the air. News of the confrontation stirred curiosity and anticipation among the spectators. Gathering herself, Elisa felt the weight of what was at stake for her and her beloved horses. This was more than about winning. It was a declaration that true champions were measured by love, not lineage. The finals began, and futures hung in the balance as Tornado showcased his talent. The elegance of his movements captivated the audience, and when the scores were revealed, the room erupted in applause, leaving Elisa breathless. Then it was Luna's turn. She stood at the gate, poised and radiant against the backdrop of the arena as Elisa walked the course with her heart in her throat. The jumps became obstacles filled with possibility. Each cleared height transformed tension into triumph. With the crowd on the edge of their seats, Luna triumphed, completing a perfect round that offered only grace. Finally, Estrella took the stage, dancing through her respective disciplines. The crowd began to understand the small gray's capabilities. She mastered the course with a fearlessness that inspired awe. As the evening wore on, a hush fell over the arena. One by one, the scores were finalized and the results announced. The moment arrived when it was clear that Haven's Hope would leave a mark on history. Luna claimed gold in show jumping, Tornado brought home top honors in dressage, and Estrella earned accolades for her exceptional versatility. The roar from the crowd was deafening as Elisa stood on the podium, tears streaming down her face. She held her three champions close, feeling the weight of their shared trials and victories. The announcer's voice carried over the jubilant noise, proclaiming, "These horses were once deemed worthless. Today they stand tall as a beacon of hope." Through the ensuing celebration, Elisa looked over to see Aloe standing in disbelief. The reality of his past decisions dawned on him. He had underestimated her and these horses. Next to him, his daughter Marina sat with her mouth agape, finally realizing the beauty and worth of these once cast-off colts. Later that evening, as Elisa untacked her horses, Aloe approached once more, and this time he stood without his usual air of superiority. "I was wrong," he admitted, his voice thick with emotion. "Not just about these horses, but about everything I thought I knew about breeding champions." Elisa turned to face him fully, a mixture of surprise and curiosity at the vulnerability he displayed. "These last months watching your success from afar have forced me to question the entire approach I took," he confessed, tentatively reaching out to touch Luna, who leaned into his hand. "What's your secret?" he asked softly, as if hoping to absorb the wisdom she had gathered through her journey. "There is no secret," Elisa replied, feeling a sense of pride swell within her. "Just love, patience, and the belief that every horse deserves a chance to show their worth." The next week, the story of the three cast-offs and their miraculous transformation into champions made international headlines. The media lit up with interest in Haven's Hope, transcending geographical boundaries and capturing hearts from every corner of the globe. In a twist of fate, only days after the championships, Aloe visited Haven's Hope again. This time, he came with a proposal that would change the course of countless equine lives. "Let's establish a foundation together," he suggested, igniting a spark of hope in Elisa's heart. "Your ideas combined with my resources can help so many more horses." Elisa glanced up, feeling a rush of emotion. "Under one condition," she stated firmly. "This remains a place of second chances. No horse is turned away because they don't meet someone's standard of perfection." Aloe nodded slowly, his expression sincere. "Marina will volunteer as well. She says she has much to learn from you," he added. That partnership sparked new beginnings at Haven's Hope. New stables were erected alongside the old, yet the heart of the operation remained unchanged, a dedicated effort to provide love, care, and training to every horse that crossed their threshold regardless of their pasts. Luna, Tornado, and Estrella continued to shine brightly, competing and winning, becoming esteemed ambassadors for rescue horses everywhere. But they also made an indelible impact on the young riders who visited, learning that champions could come in all shapes and sizes. One peaceful evening, Elisa reflected on the journey they had taken together as she watched her three champions graze near the fence, basking in the twilight. "You didn't just change your own destinies," she whispered to them. "You changed the way people see possibility." The story of Haven's Hope grew beyond the confines of the equestrian world, sparked change and revolutionized how others viewed perfection in horses. There were annual events that featured rescue horses, celebrating transformation through compassion. 5 years after the national championships, Haven's Hope hosted its first competition specifically designed for rescue horses. The event welcomed hundreds of participants, showcasing the dreams of those once dismissed as incapable of greatness. Amongst the crowd was Alo Figaro, now transformed into an advocate for rescue horses, serving as an honorary judge, a far cry from the man he used to be. Standing in the warm twilight glow, Elisa watched as children clamored around the facility. She witnessed her beloved horses guide newly rescued fillies and colts, instilling in them the confidence she once fought so hard to establish in Luna, Tornado, and Estrella. "Who thinks this little one could be a champion?" one young girl asked wistfully, gesturing at a newly rescued colt with crooked legs. All hands shot up. "Wonderful, isn't it?" Elisa smiled, reminiscing about the timid colts that had once been ushered into Haven's Hope. As stars twinkled above, Elisa shared the tale that had become legendary within her small community. The story of 3 cast-off colts who became champions and the true power of kindness, patience, and love. Haven's Hope grew stronger alongside the horses, the legacy of Luna, Tornado, and Estrella becoming not just a reminder of their triumphs but a movement that inspired generations to embrace the beauty of imperfection and the courage to champion every creature's right to a second chance. Each day brought new revelations. Luna transformed from a scared chestnut into a natural teacher for young horses, guiding the timid with her confidence. Tornado, the bay who had once been mocked for his gait, developed deep connections with children with disabilities. Estrella, the tiny gray, was now a foundation for a breeding program focused on compact, resilient sport horses. Elisa marveled at how far they had come. The horse that Alo deemed a liability had become a champion not just in competition, but in the hearts of many. And as she watched her 3 beloved horses thrive, Elisa smiled, knowing that love and nurturing could defy even the harshest criticisms and transform the most overlooked lives. Through their journey, the lines between worth and worthlessness were forever blurred. Champions rose from the unlikeliest of beginnings, and at Haven's Hope, the echo of new beginnings thrummed in every break of the day. A clear reminder that sometimes the brightest gems are those cast aside, waiting for someone to recognize their true worth.